Burnout is something I've been struggling with recently between work, climbing, meal prepping, running a household. I mean, even if I'm the only person in the household, learning Korean, trying to hit my fitness goals, trying to be a good daughter, showing up for my community and my friends. Like, my to-do list is never ending, and I've been feeling so tired and so exhausted to the point that my body aches every single waking moment of the day. I can't get out of bed, and I just feel so directionless and aimless, and I've lost that energy. If that's you and it resonates deeply with you, you are not alone. And I've been sitting and thinking about what to do with this because I really just hate waking up, not feeling that joy in life, because I really believe that life should be magical. A couple days ago, when I opened my Bible to just connect with God and His Word, one verse really stood out to me, and I feel like in that one moment, like God lit up my heart and showed me how I can conquer this feeling of burnout and this never-ending need to just pursue excellence in all areas of my life. The verse is actually in Matthew 22:37, which is the greatest commandment of them all. And Jesus said, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind." And I think in the ESV version that I was reading, it actually also includes "and with all your body." And this commandment, as I've been chewing on it and sitting on it over the last couple of days, has really redefined how I view rest, because in the last 2 years, God has always given me reminders that I need to slow down and I need to rest. This is actually one of the hardest things for me to do, because as an individual, I hold myself to really, really high standards in all areas of my life, and somehow I have been running towards the goal of perfection. I am human and I am flawed, and no matter how much I try, there is no such thing as perfection. There is no way I can win this battle, and it is so exhausting. This one greatest commandment is showing me and reminding me how I need to show up in life, and that my strength, my peace, that life source, it all flows from God, and I have to learn how to commit every single aspect of my being to loving Him in order to overcome burnout. I'm going to share with you the different revelations and insights that I received from this verse. But first, hi, I'm Kate, and welcome back to my channel. It's been a hot minute. I'm an educator, I'm a life coach, I'm also a brand and marketing consultant, but most importantly, I am a child of the Most High God, and He loves me and He loves you so deeply. On my channel, I share videos about how to heal, how to conquer fear and depression, how to overcome any hardships that you face in life with joy and peace. And I hope today's video blesses you. So like I said, I didn't really realize that I was in burnout mode, because when I get to the point where I'm just going, and I'm on autopilot, I don't really realize how exhausting it is. To just give you an idea, I climb at least 4 times a week. On top of that, I make sure I clock in all my 10,000 steps every single day. I prepare almost all 3 meals every day. I have a full-time job. On top of that, I also do take on coaching clients and consulting clients. Sometimes I run this YouTube channel. I am trying to write a book. I also study and am learning the Korean language. And I'm trying to connect with new community. I go to church on Saturdays and Sundays. I serve in church as well. I try to catch up with all my friends. I'm trying to meet new people. I have multiple projects on the back burner, and I'm always thinking about the next new project that I want to work on. I just have a heart for so many things, and I really want to try all the things that are in this world. But guys, time is limited. I just went on and on thinking that I could do it all, until one day it just crept up on me, and even after sleeping for 8 hours straight, I woke up and I felt like I'd been hit by a freaking truck, like just like smashed on my bed, and I didn't want to get out of bed. I just felt so exhausted. When it hits you, you just feel your whole being just go down this way, and it is really hard to get back up. Like for the days after that, I was on the verge of tears almost every single day, and I really hated how I feel. The stuff that I used to find joy in, like climbing, like learning Korean, reading the Bible, I did not feel the joy in them anymore. I also realized that I was more prone to injuries. So for the last month or so, like my fingers have been swollen from climbing, so I haven't been climbing well at all. And honestly, my spirit is just really, really low. I had friends look at me, they said, hey, is everything all right? Like, you seem really down and sadder than usual, and you're not your usual upbeat self. But I really just wanted to share this key takeaway with you from the greatest commandment and what it has taught me about the perspective of resting. There have just been so many times in life when I've hit rock bottom, even though I know that He is the only solution. When I hit rock bottom like this, the human part of me just always forgets, and I always tend to depend on my own strength. There's nothing in the world that can really revive your tired body, your tired spirit, your tired soul, your tired mind, and your tired heart. The only thing that can revive it is God. Alcohol can't help you, sugar can't help you, eating good food can't help you, going out to party can't help you. Like, honestly, the only thing is God. And so let me just share with you some of the key ways that you can rest and recuperate from burnout. And the first one is to turn to God. When burnout takes over, I have to fix my eyes on God. I have started in the last 2 weeks to fix my eyes on God by forcing myself to start my day with worship music. I used to do this consistently every single day for 3 years during the darkest moments in life. Like, I would start my day with worship music. But as the days went on, after 3 years, I kept listening to the same playlist, and that's just the sort of person I am. And I got sick of that music, and I started listening to other forms of music like lo-fi, K-pop. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that I realized that those were the solid foundations for me to start my day with praise. I'm not saying that you have to rely on music to praise God, but starting my day with worship music, just when I get out of bed, I pick up my phone and I play my favorite worship playlist, which I'll put some links below. When I do that, I start from a place of praise. These are songs that I love. Every single season, I have different worship songs. And so right now in this season, there are a couple of worship songs that I love. And when I start with that, like, my energy just gets going. And even as I'm brushing my teeth, I'm humming to the music. And as the music starts to play, I start singing out loud at the top of my lungs. And then as the worship songs plays, I actually take communion, and I have started to share with God all my worries and my concerns. And when people say to pray to God, honestly, the only thing they mean is talk to God. Talk to God like you would to your best friend. When I'm seated down early in the morning, I'm just like, God, this is my huge ass to-do list. This is what I'm worried about. This is what I'm worried about for my family, what I'm worried about for my future. And I just pour out my heart to Him. I just tell Him what I'm concerned about. But after I've done all of that, I then sit and look around, and I'm like, thank you, God, for listening to me. Thank you, God, for still giving me this breath. And so as I pour out and empty myself of those worries, I then fill them back up with gratitude. And I focus on His goodness and all the good that He's done for me. The last few weeks, I've really been depending on my own strength. Like, I would wake up in the morning and be like, okay, let's go, you can do it. And then I just go through every single thing on my to-do list. Like, my morning routine seems really, really long right now. And I'll just be like, okay, you can do it, you can do it. Even though my body's so exhausted, I'm just like, okay, you can do it. Just one more step, just one more step. There were days where I was out for like 15 hours in a day, and I just would go non-stop from appointment to appointment and doing thing after thing. And I'll just be like, okay, Kate, you can do it. You are strong, you can do it. That was just me depending on my own strength. And as you know, we are all human and our strength is limited. Like a car, when your fuel tank goes on empty, there is just no coming back from it. But if you depend on God's strength, our infinite God, our resourceful, abundant God, if you depend on His strength, you will never run out of strength, because He is there for you and He is boundless. If you depend on Him, if you turn to Him, and if you rely on Him instead of your own strength, there is no way you're going to fail, because He is for you. And if He is for you, who can be against you? Even I can often forget how to rely on God, and I need daily reminders, which is why I've actually written down on my journal that I should remember every single day to rely on Him. And my top reminder to do that is to take communion in the morning, where I thank Him for His body and I thank Him for His blood, and I say, I'm going to rely on you and depend on you for all that you've done for me and all that you will do for me today. The first thing I would recommend doing if you are exhausted and in the midst of a burnout is to turn to God in whatever way or form you are most comfortable with. Because these moments of dependence really shifted my perspective from things that I was lacking and the tiredness that I was feeling to Him and His abundance and what He can provide for me. And by looking at Him, I am then put away from the worries of this world and reminded of His goodness instead. And the second thing I want to share with you guys about how you can overcome burnout is actually a big second point that can be split into different parts. Embrace different kinds of rest. So as you can see from the greatest commandment, right? You're supposed to love the Lord our God with all your heart, your mind, your body, and your spirit. And what this means is that there are different areas to your entire being. And if you love Him with each of these different areas, you will get rest in each of these different areas as well. Burnout isn't just about being tired, it's about being imbalanced. So rest comes in many forms. It comes in mental, emotional, physical, it even comes in spiritual, creative, and sensory. Neglecting any one of these areas can really leave us feeling tired and exhausted. So here's how I incorporate different types of rest for each of these types. And the first one is mental rest. The top way that I actually find myself getting mental rest is to meditate on God's word. And in Romans 8:6 it says, the mind governed by the Spirit is life and peace. When I focus on His word, after I empty myself out of all my worries, I am actually just filling myself up with His peace and His wisdom. Especially when I'm reading Psalms and Proverbs, it gives me such a deep sense of security. Like He's feeding me with His wisdom, and then I get to look at His perspective of the world and I get to understand what exactly is going on with my life. God's word has never failed me. He has never failed to give me direction and peace, and I pray that you'll be able to find the same in His word as well. The second thing that I do for mental rest is to step away from the noise. And what this means is you need to know where the spaces of comfort and peace are for you and for me. And it's also been scientifically proven that forest bathing or nature bathing, and my friends love making a joke out of this about me, forest bathing is very, very calming and restful for your mental state and for your entire being. I love being in nature by myself. I love taking walks in nature and having a conversation with God in my head. When I'm in nature, I might sometimes do prayer walks where I'm praying in tongues or I'm just talking to Him. But being in nature allows me to see His full creativity on display. It's also very peaceful. You're also moving your body. You're not distracted by the noise of this world. If you've not tried this before, I highly recommend you try it. And the third way I take a mental rest is to feed my mind with uplifting books, sermons, or music. I'll put down a few recommendations below, but honestly, reading the Bible is my top way. If not, I love a good fiction book. Currently on the Hyunam-dong bookstore, and I have been reading that for a couple of months because I just don't want it to end. I curate my list very, very tightly because I don't want to feed my mind with anything that might distort or corrupt it. So you have to ask yourself, what sort of content are you feeding your mental state with? I find reading to be very calming because it's just you and the book and there's no noise or distraction. It's also not a dopamine rush, and it really helps for you to step away from social media as well to give your mind a state of rest. And the second type of rest is actually emotional rest. And so when you're looking for emotional rest, it's important. It's not just about being alone, but it's surrounding yourself with the right people and the right community. In Proverbs 11:25, it says, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. And honestly, I didn't really used to believe in this. Like usually when I'm very, very tired, I would just be like, I don't want to see anybody, I don't want to be in the world, and I just want to stay at home and be by myself. But 2 weeks ago, I was super exhausted, and honestly, I just had like an 8-hour day, but I decided, okay, I'm just going to rock up to church. I'm going to listen to the sermon and then I'm going to leave. I don't want to talk to anyone. But after sermon, as I was sitting there, I was invited to go grab dinner and come up and then have dinner together with some of my friends. and I was feeling super out of place and tired, but I made new friends that day, and by the end of the night, I realized I had spent about 4 hours talking to new people. Because these new people really resonated with my heart, we had similar values and we were all just like sharing about life. I felt such a renewed sense of energy that when I came home, I did not feel emotionally exhausted. I felt physically exhausted, but emotionally I felt very, very recharged. And this is the same when I spend time with my two really good friends, Maisha and Joyce. Shout out to my girls. But when I spend time with them, just being with them gives me such a sense of safety that I can share my heart with them and they can do the same, and we're all just living life together and we all are encouraging each other and giving each other advice on how to press on. This is a really important form of emotional rest for me. The second way to rest emotionally is to pour out your heart to God in prayer or journaling. And so I mentioned this earlier on, that you can just share with God whatever is on your mind. You can also do it in a journal form. So I have not only a Bible journal but also a personal journal and a career journal, and I just tend to type out all the thoughts that I have in there. And I really realized that when you put your thoughts down, it not only clears your mind, it also gives you a way to actually gain better clarity over your thoughts. But this really gives you emotional rest, because you should not be holding all your emotions and your worries inside. It's just going to turn into a huge knot. It's easier for you if you put it down and gain clarity as to why you're feeling a certain way and what exactly you're feeling. Which then leads me to my third way to rest emotionally, which is to have a freaking good cry. There is nothing wrong with crying. Crying is a sign that you're feeling certain emotions, whether it's anger or sadness or pain, Crying is a form of your body showing you that you're feeling such a deep emotion that it has to come out somewhere. And the more you repress your emotions, the more you're not going to be in touch with your emotions, and the more pent-up anger is going to be there, and it's going to be very, very hard for you to get all those emotions unstuck. Having a good cry, while you might sometimes feel physically tired after, it's really good to help you release any of those emotions, and you'll be able to work through them after, especially if you can journal down what you were feeling and why you think you were feeling this way. And the last way to get emotional rest after you've had a good cry, for me, is to watch Korean variety shows. I don't watch Korean dramas. I don't watch anything dramatic. I just don't like having that energy in my life. It's not a dopamine rush that I want. So I watch very down-to-earth, chill Korean variety shows. Right now, I'm really loving Handsome Guys. You can catch it on View. I love 2 Day 1 Night. I also love I Live Alone. Like, it's just having a good laugh, especially after a good cry, really just releases those endorphins, and it just makes me feel so warm and fuzzy on the inside. If you've not caught any of them, I recommend you give that a try instead of watching horror or thrillers or very, very dramatic shows. Why don't you just watch something that makes you happy and laugh? And the third kind of rest, which I am actually very, very bad at, is physical rest. And the first way to get physical rest is to listen to your body. Listen to your body, get enough sleep, get enough rest, hydrate and drink at least 3 liters of water a day, and eat nourishing foods. When I'm aching, I will continue to work out so that the ache goes away. Technically, it doesn't go away. It's just that as you continue to ache, the bad syndromes of DOMS doesn't really set in as much, because if you move your body, the aches tend to go away because of the blood flow and everything. That's not good advice, so please don't take this advice from me. Listen to your body. If your body is exhausted, if you're tired that day, you don't have to work out. You are not lazy for skipping a day of workout if you've been doing it for the last 2 weeks non-stop. You are not lazy if you aren't feeling your tip-top condition and you just need a nap instead of working out. Like, listen to your body and see what your body needs. The flip side is true. If you're feeling so full and yet you still want to eat more sugar or you still want to eat more snacks, ask yourself why. What's causing this feeling? What's causing this feeling that you have to put something in your mouth? Like, I just finished a tub of chocolate oat cookies, and I think it was because I was really, really tired and I just wanted something to fill my stomach and make me feel well nourished. Will I regret this tomorrow? Probably, but it's okay. It's good for you to listen to your body and try to figure out what your body is telling you. If you're having breakouts, if you're having aches, If your hair is oily, greasy, like ask yourself what's going on and try to figure it out. The second way to rest physically is to allow yourself to nap guilt-free. I don't know if this applies to everyone, but I am not a nap girl. I cannot take naps. I usually tend to force myself to stay out so that I wouldn't take naps. But in Psalms 23 verse 2 to 3, it says, God, He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. And rest actually isn't laziness. It's actually about stewardship and how you're stewarding your energy and your body. And when I sometimes nap on my couch, I make sure my face faces the window. I've got the sun shining on my face. When I can fall asleep in that position, not only does it show me that I'm really, really tired, that the sun doesn't affect me, but it also has a calming effect on my body because it reminds me of that verse from Psalms. I'm lying down in green pastures and the sun is shining gently on me, and God is just watching over me and taking care of me and allowing me rest. And I do the same thing outside as well. I sometimes bring my camping chair out to a park, put the camping chair there, read a good book, or sometimes I just close my eyes and take a really quick nap outdoors. And I really like that feeling where I'm just at rest and God is watching over me. So allow yourself a nap when you're really, really tired. The third way that God calls us to rest is to realize that you can never finish doing every single thing on your to-do list. I will tell myself many times, I will rest when I am done. But guys, that you will never be done. There are so many things to do in life. Honestly, just ask yourself, will you ever be done with every single thing on your to-do list when you put it all together? Things you have to do in your house, your life, your work, your relationships. There is always something more that you can do. And so your to-do list is never ending. Change your perspective that even if you've not finished all that you have to do, God calls us to rest anyway. It just blows my mind how I never learned this. Like I'm just always stuck in the whirlwind of doing until I'm coming to a crash. And I'm coming to full burnout, and I then realize that I can't finish everything that I have to do. And my body, like God made our bodies so that we need rest. You need at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep because that is the time where your body recuperates and regenerates. That's the time when you're healing. That's the time when your mind and your neural pathways are being formed in your head. Like it's so important. It affects your workout performance the next day, your mental performance the next day when you don't get enough sleep. Know that rest is an essential part of your body and it is a necessity. It is not an option, it is a necessity. Please make sure you get enough sleep. And the last way for physical rest is pause from intense workouts when your body cannot handle it. That's me. I thought that active resting was me walking with a 5 kilo weighted vest for at least 10,000 steps, but after being told by my doctor friend that that is not active rest, I realized that I really, really need to take it down a notch and that I don't have to always be go, go, go. If you are like me, this is your gentle reminder that you don't have to do hard-ass workouts every single day. You can do soft workouts. Even stretching on your day off would be fine. You don't have to hit your goals and targets every single day. You don't have to do the 75 hard workout if you don't want to do it and if you're not feeling up to it, okay? I love you. And the fourth type of rest is actually spiritual rest. And for me, the first way that I rest spiritually is to spend time in worship, prayer, and scripture. And I've already shared that with you throughout this video. But in Matthew 11:28, it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest." This verse sounds so simple when I read it, but it's really the hardest thing to do. Like, because God is not physically present with me, I find it very, very hard to remind myself that when I'm exhausted, I need to go to Him and I need to turn to Him. I have a Father who is waiting for me to just come to Him and tell Him, "Daddy God, I am so tired and I don't know what to do. Could you just please help me?" And like a good father, looking at his daughter, how could he not help me? He shows me such grace and really just sends me the right people. He knows exactly what I need, and so In this time of burnout, he sent me friends to encourage me. He's really just given me the peace of mind to sleep as well, because usually when I'm facing burnout and I'm super stressed, I find it very hard to sleep because there's so much thoughts going on in my head. But this time around, like, I've been sleeping 8 hours a night for the last week, probably due to exhaustion, but also because I've got such inner turmoil. I know mentally all that he's done for me, and this time around it's a mental state of peace. While there's a lot of turmoil in there, that he will work things out for my good and all things will go well. Okay, like I feel like that's the power of having a strong foundation in my relationship with God, and you can do the same as well. The next way to find spiritual rest is to let go of resentment and unforgiveness. When you are angry with someone, when you hate someone, like, that's such a strong word. When you hold a grudge against someone, the person suffering is not the person you're holding the grudge against. The person suffering is you. And it is so tiring to have to hold all these stones and burdens in your hand and to live your everyday life. Like, it's so exhausting to be angry at someone. It's so exhausting to hold that bitterness in your heart. If you're angry at someone, you're disappointed at someone, if you hold such resentment in your heart, today is the day to let it go. Today is the day you say, you know what? Not for you, but for me. I'm going to let this go, and I'm going to forgive, and I'm going to forget. I'm going to move on. I can use my energy elsewhere, and this energy needs to serve me instead of hold me back. For spiritual rest, let go. Let go of the anger and the hurt that you feel in your heart. Bless the other person and just let go. Okay, you are in full control. The third way for spiritual rest is to, again, be in community with others who fill up your spiritual tank. I'm very lucky that my friends can fill up both my emotional and spiritual tank. If you are lacking a spiritual community, I urge you to go find your local church and spend some time with the people in your community. Like, I have been in 2 churches one for about 2 to 3 years and the other for about a year. And finding community, I know, is not easy. Finding people who you can call your tribe and your friends is not easy, but don't give up. We are all humans and we're all different, and it really takes time for you to get to know people of different personalities. Make sure you put yourself out there, be courageous enough to go meet new people and find ways to meet new people in a community of people who have the same value system as you, and from there, let them fill up your tank. And the fourth way to actually find spiritual rest is to remember God's goodness. In Isaiah 40:31, it says, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength." As you continue to place your hope in God, as you continue to look to His goodness, He will renew your strength in all areas. And this is exactly it. I have a list of promises that God has made to me. I have a list of prophecies that people have made of me. And whenever I'm feeling down, I look through these promises and prophecies. I also have a journal where I write down all the good things that God has done for me, because as men, our memory fails us. And so when I look at these promises, when I look at the past experiences of what He has done for me, I know that I can hope in Him and I can trust Him, and my strength is renewed. I look at all the magic that He has done for me again and again and again, and He has never let me down, even in the small things. When I was feeling alone and burnt out, He sent me a parking lot and a seat in the middle of a huge ass crowded church, right in the middle, right smack in the middle, because He knew it would mean so much to me. So remember all the good things that He has done for you and let Him renew your strength. And the third and final way that I love finding rest is to find rest in God's creation. Like I said, when life feels overwhelming, I find rest by being alone with God in nature. Just as He rested after creating the world in Genesis 2:2, how can our amazing God take a rest and we don't, right? Honestly. So I allow myself to just pause and marvel at the earth that He has made. Like, do you know that there are leaves of plants that look like they've been painted on? There are leaves of plants that look like they've been painted on to look like they're camouflage. Like, there are leaves on plants that look like paintings, like mere paintings. Like, this is not man-made, this is God-made. Like, did you know that the roots of the trees actually mimic the roots and the blood vessels that we have in our heart? Like, there is so much beauty in this world. I love walking around Singapore, looking at the skies, looking at the sun rays, just being, especially trees and flowers and greenery. There's so much of that here in Singapore. So find time to just go out and be with nature and marvel at this world and this life that God has created. Notice the small details. Know that God clothed this entire world and He clothed these beautiful plants, and if He can do that for them, He is going to do the same for you. So resting doesn't mean giving up. In fact, resting is actually an act of trust. Resting shows that you put your trust in God and you know that He has your back. You trust that God will sustain you. You trust that He is in control, and you trust that your worth is not in what you can and will do, but your worth is in Him. You are worthy as you are. You are worthy as He made you, and you don't have to strive to hit those achievements to be worthy of love. If you're feeling burnt out, know that you're not alone and that I am with you. I am going through the same thing that you are, but it's okay. We are not alone. We are in this together, and God is with us. Turn to God, embrace balance, and allow yourself space to rest. As we come to the end of the video, maybe if you could just ask yourself what type of rest you're currently in need of right now. Is it spiritual rest, physical rest, emotional rest, or mental rest? And as the answer is coming to you, I pray that you can take away something from this video and that you'll find one way to rest for yourself today. I hope this video has blessed you. Thank you for staying this long in the video and for watching through this entire video. I'll see you in my next one, and I'm sending you love. Bye.